Hello, in today's foundation roundup, I have 5 new to me foundations to review for you and give you my thoughts on. I'll show you what these look like, how they apply, and give you my overall experience with each, and tell you what skin types I think would benefit the most from each foundation. We have foundations from Glossier, MAC, Bobbi Brown, Bosma, and Danessa Myricks. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I test and review a lot of foundations, concealers, and other complexion products here on my channel because I'm nearing 50, and as we age, it just gets harder and harder to find the right products for our skin. So I test things out so you don't have to, in hopes that it helps you make better buying decisions. So let's go ahead and get into these foundations and see what my thoughts are and if one might work for you. I've done tons of foundation roundup videos, but today's the first time I've ever had a sponsor for one. It has nothing to do with the foundations I'm sharing with you, but I've shared this product several times. It's one that I love and use regularly. Zoe Halo is having a special just for you that goes above and beyond the Black Friday sale you see on their website. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank them for reaching out to me with a special savings just for you and to thank them for sponsoring a portion of today's video. I'll tell you more about the savings and a little bit more about what I love about their hair dryer and what's different about it here in a minute. So the first foundation we'll talk about is Glossier Stretch Fluid Foundation. It retails for $34 for 1 ounce, and there are 33 shades. We'll get into my shade when we start the application. This is vegan, cruelty-free, alcohol-free, and fragrance-free. It has an 89% skincare base. This is a hydrating gel cream foundation that nourishes your skin. And it's supposed to be buildable from light to medium coverage and look very natural and wear for 12 hours. And it's formulated to fuse with your skin and be crease resistant, transfer resistant, and sweat resistant. Now, my skin tone is typically light medium with neutral leaning warm undertones. So I ended up with medium 1 because the next neutral undertone that was a little bit lighter was light 2, and I thought that might be too light. I didn't see anything in between that looked like it would be light medium. Everything in between light 2 and medium 1 was either pink, olive, or yellow undertoned. And you can see here that this is pretty yellow and deep dark for me. It is such that I need to take this down my neck to make it work. It's a thick cream gel formula that blends out very easily and quickly with any method. I prefer using a damp sponge. That's just a personal preference. And I would say the coverage is buildable from light to medium. And the finish it leaves is a slightly dewy, but not too dewy, natural finish that looks really nice on my pores. It doesn't fully camouflage them, but there's definitely an improvement there in terms of smoothing. It feels lightweight after it's applied. Now, I have combination skin that is normal and can be dry around the perimeter, but I get some shine and oil breakthrough in my T-zone. Now, when I don't wear a primer with this, I get shiny pretty quickly, and I can start to see some texture where I don't want to see texture, and it's not super flattering on my pores. It wears better. I get less shine breakthrough when I do wear a mattifying primer, but it's still not great. I just find this to be pretty dewy, and as my oils start to mesh with it throughout the day, it just isn't that flattering on my pores. And there is something in this that gives me bumps every single time I wear it. I've given my face a break from it and gone back to it, and every single time by the end of the day and the next day and the next day, I'm still fighting something. And after that happened to me, I went online and filtered out the incentivized reviews and did see some people saying the same thing. I'm not sure what it is. I do have sensitive skin with rosacea, so sometimes that happens to me. I think if you have normal to dry skin and you like a dewy finish that has natural looking light medium coverage and you don't have a lot of texture, I think this would be really pretty. I'm sure there are normal to dry skin people out there that really like this, and it has some really nice ingredients. I'm just not so sure if you have oily combination skin or acne prone skin if this is the foundation for you. Before I review the new MAC Studio Radiance Serum Powered Foundation, I want to let you know what's going on with Zoe Hair Dryer. So all throughout the month of November, it's 25% off during their Black Friday sale, but you can save an additional 5% with my code STEPH5 for a total of 30%. It's their best deal of the year. It's definitely worth giving it a try because they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, this is not a heat-powered hair dryer. It uses infrared light instead of heat to give you a gentler hair drying experience. It's supposed to mimic the sun and wind drying your hair. So instead of over drying the entire hair follicle, it dries the water on the surface of the hair so that your hair retains its internal moisture. If you're like me and your hair's getting drier and drier by the day and shedding more or getting thinner, tools that are focused on hair health are really important. So I was intrigued by this from the moment that it was first brought to my attention, and I've just really loved incorporating this into my hair routine. I don't have the type of hair that I can just air dry and go. I do have to heat style my hair in some type of way if I want it to be presentable. This hair dryer is much less hot than other conventional hair dryers on the market. It's more of a warmth, and there's even a gentle setting if you have a sensitive scalp. It's also quieter than other dryers I've ever owned and lighter and more comfortable to handle and hold for long periods of time. My arm never gets tired when I use it. There are 4 different settings and a cool shot and 3 different attachments that attach magnetically very easily. So there are plenty of options no matter how you want to style your hair. Because Zoe helps retain the internal moisture of your hair instead of drying it out, it results in less frizz, less damage, softer, more hydrated hair with more shine, which is important especially as we age and our hair gets drier and more fragile. I am someone that incorporates various hairstyling tools into my hair routine, and my hair does feel softer and healthier when I incorporate Zoe Halo into my routine. Even if it's just to regularly tousle blow dry it with Zoe Halo instead of using my regular blow dryer, whatever it is, it's less damage than I was getting before, which is beneficial. So if any of that sounds good to you, be sure and use my code so you can save 30% through the month of November. Again, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't end up liking it. The code and the link are down in my description box and in my top pinned comment. Okay, now it's time for the new MAC Studio Radiance Serum Powered Foundation. There's been a lot of buzz about this, and I think we can all tell this is not a color match, which we're going to talk about here in a second. So this is $46 for 1 ounce. There are 56 shades. MAC has been known for their fantastic shade range, and we will discuss the shade that I got as we go through the application. So this claims to be a weightless, buildable, 24-hour hydrating foundation that smooths texture, evens skin tone, and blurs the look of pores. It's supposed to hydrate immediately and over time and give a radiant look to your skin and wear for 12 hours and be water, sweat, humidity, and transfer resistant. It's not supposed to cake, crease, settle, or cause breakouts. So this has a very thin consistency that blends easily and quickly. Let's go ahead and talk about the shade I'm applying here, which is the MAC shade that I have been my entire foundation shade wearing life, NC25. This NC25 is not the normal NC25. It's darker. When I first applied it to my face, I thought I had been sent the wrong foundation shade. I thought there's no way this is NC25 because I have other MAC NC25 products and they match me perfectly. For reference, what I have on my face today is my MAC Studio Fix powder foundation. It's NC25. These are not close at all. I have another liquid foundation that's C25. My face and body is C3 because I think they didn't make it in NC25 or maybe it was out, and C3 is lighter and less yellow than this. I'm actually kind of glad it ended up being too dark, and I'll get into that in a minute. I ended up blending it down my neck to make it work, and it ended up looking fine. I would say this gives light medium to medium full coverage, and it really gives a beautiful finish. It evens my skin tone beautifully and smooths pores and texture and looks really nice and natural, shade aside. Now before setting, it's very, very dewy, so if you like a dewy finish, you may not want to set it. After setting, the finish is very natural on my combination skin, and it feels hydrating yet lightweight. At 5 hours, there's still some coverage, everything looks nice and smooth. I'm starting to get some shine breakthrough, and it's not really the good kind. It looks a little sweaty. I did blot with a blotting sheet, but it did come back through, and at about 9.5 hours, everything kind of just falls apart when I'm not wearing a primer. I should note this is when I'm not wearing a primer. And this is why I'm kind of glad it was a little bit darker, because I'm not sure if I would have noticed this as much with a perfect match, because it does look so nice on your skin otherwise, but I could really see my skin not matching coming through at this point when I was losing coverage and starting to see more texture coming through. Now this could have been a skin type issue. Oily combination skin and some radiant foundations just don't really mesh well when it comes to wearing well throughout the day. It does wear better with a primer and setting spray, but you could say the same for a lot of radiant foundations. Even though this looked really nice at the beginning of the day, for me, there are other radiant foundations that perform better with shine throughout the day that just look so pretty all day long that don't require primer and setting spray to do so. Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion, Guerlain Terracotta, House Labs, Urban Decay Hydromaniac. There are more I'm probably forgetting off the top of my head. Those are more natural radiant foundations that may not even be radiant on dry skin, but on oily combination, they give you that look without going into greasy territory. I think this is a beautiful foundation for normal to dry skin of any age, even mature skin. But oily combination skin, I'm not so sure if this is going to be the foundation for you. I swear that's not the theme of the entire video. Next is a foundation that you may not have heard of or even considered, but it went viral several months ago on TikTok, and a lot of you asked me to test this out. This is the Bosma Stick Foundation, and this is the only product from this brand that is at Sephora, but it's very, very popular, very well liked. It retails for $40 for 0.22 ounces. Now, every time I review a stick foundation, somebody comes in my comment section talking about what a terrible value or what little product you get for the money with said stick foundation. Stick foundations typically are around the same size, around 1/4 of an ounce, give or take, because you need a lot less to apply to your face to get the same amount of coverage as you would with the liquid foundation. They're just more concentrated. A 1 ounce stick foundation would be absolutely enormous. Most stick foundations run around the same price ranges as others in their categories, drugstore, high-end, luxury, but they're all around the same size and you need to apply a lot less. There are 40 shades. I'm in shade 29, which is medium with neutral undertones. This is vegan and cruelty-free and claims to be a full coverage, buttery soft, buildable, lightweight foundation stick that evens out your skin and gives you a nice natural glow. There are also some really nice ingredients in here that help support collagen production, improve elasticity, provide antioxidant protection, hydrate skin, and nurture, revitalize, and soften your skin. This glides on, applies, and blends out so easily. Now, I didn't have my camera turned on when I first swiped this on my skin. I thought I did, but I didn't. You will see me swipe it on the other half of my face when I get there. I like to build this to medium coverage and then assess and see where I need more coverage, if any, and just build it up where I need it. Now, I know they say this is full coverage, but I feel like this is more of a medium to medium full coverage stick foundation. A full coverage foundation will cover this sunspot here, and I have one over here too, and then I have some little areas on my nose. This doesn't quite get those. I do need some additional concealer for that, but I'm fine with the medium full coverage. It's still really pretty on my skin. It evens out my skin tone, smooths pores, and looks nice and natural and skin-like. I would say before setting, it gives me a nice natural finish, and after it leans more demi-matte. It feels lightweight and comfortable on my skin. Now at 7 hours, it looks nice and has more of a natural finish at this point. It's not greasy greasy or sweaty looking. Now, in order to go much past this point, I do need to finish off my makeup in the morning with the setting spray because it will start to break down and wear away, which is not uncommon for a stick foundation. For me anyway, with my combination skin and the shine I get in the center of my face as the day goes on. You can see here on a day when I didn't do that at about 9.5 hours. I was also testing out a concealer that I had powdered that stayed on my face, and where I had my foundation, I lost a lot of coverage. I actually think this is a great stick foundation for any skin type. I think if you have normal to dry skin, this is really beautiful and flattering, even on mature skin. It just looks like skin, and it smooths and even skin tone in such a beautiful way. And if you have oily combination skin and have a moderate length day and don't want to use a primer or setting spray, you're fine. But if you throw a setting spray and maybe even a primer too, you can extend the wear and really enjoy this. I have not had great luck with a lot of stick foundations, but this is another one that I've really been enjoying. This is Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint. This retails for $36 for 1.58 ounces. You get a lot for your money here. There are 16 shades. I'm in shade 260 Cashmere, which is a great match for me. This is vegan and cruelty-free and claims to be a hydrating and smoothing skincare infused skin tint that provides light coverage and a skin-like radiant finish in 16 flexible shades that are optimized to address redness and unevenness in all skin tones. There are collagen peptides and ceramides in here and some other ingredients that are supposed to work together to protect and strengthen the skin barrier, smooth the texture, plump fine lines, provide antioxidant protection, and hydrate and soothe your skin. This is a thicker formula that applies and blends out very quickly and easily using any method you prefer. And I would say this is buildable from sheer to light medium depending on the method you use. It evens my skin tone but doesn't conceal any spots or anything like that, so you'll need a separate concealer. This has a very dewy, wet looking finish before I set it that feels kind of tacky and doesn't seem to set down. And it also doesn't seem to do that much for my pores before it's set, but after my makeup is finished, after I set with powder, my pores look much smoother. Not completely smooth. I mean, when I'm out in the full sun, you can still see them, but better than when it's not set at all. But it still feels slightly tacky to the touch. Even after it's set, I can still just kind of feel it. It feels hydrating to my skin from the start. And as I continue to wear it and my oils kind of mesh with it, a few hours in and the dew starts to come through, I can kind of start to just feel it a little bit more on my skin. I don't mean feel it when I touch it, I just mean I'm kind of aware of it. That dewy shine that starts to come through, it kind of looks a little sweaty. It starts to emphasize my nasolabial folds, which I don't love. My clips from around 8 to 9 hours are a bit dim. It's nighttime. I've lost some coverage and there is some shine. This is a skin tint that's just a little bit too dewy for me. This is another foundation I tested for this video that I just don't think is great for those of us with oily combination skin or mature skin necessarily. If you have some texture, sometimes dewy foundations that have that kind of wet look to them can really emphasize that texture. So you kind of have to be careful or powder those areas down so that, you know, some things just don't get exaggerated that you don't want to. But I think this could be really pretty for normal to oily skin if you're looking for a lighter coverage, skin evening skin tint. This is my official review of the new Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Hydrating Skin Tint. This retails for $46 for 1.69 ounces. I was pleasantly surprised with that price. Typically, Bobbi Brown foundations can be very, very pricey, and you get a lot for your money here. There are 18 shades. I'm in shade Light 3. This claims to be a 2-in-1 buildable, multitasking, multivitamin infused sheer skin tint that gives 12 hours of hydration. It's supposed to wear for 12 hours and be sweat proof, humidity resistant. It's not supposed to fade, crease, or settle. It's supposed to also look very, very natural, and it has SPF 15 to protect from UVA and UVB rays. I have a big LOL next to that notation because you know how I feel about that if you're a subscriber. Please do not ever use your foundation or your skin tint as your sunscreen. You have to apply a huge heap of foundation to get the adequate sun protection that they put in these things. And for this only to give SPF 15, and with the amount you'd have to apply to get that SPF 15, just no, I don't even know why they bother putting it in here. But there are some good ingredients in here that support a strong skin barrier, provide antioxidant protection, and moisturize, soften, and condition. This is the one foundation in this foundation roundup where I need to point out the noticeable fragrance in here. I notice it right when I squeeze it out of the tube. I notice it as I'm applying it. Now, I don't notice it after my makeup is complete when I can apply this. So this has a very thin consistency, which makes you think it's going to blend out easily and seamlessly, but this pills almost every time I try to apply this. The only time I've ever successfully been able to apply this is when I've put nothing else underneath it at all. Not even the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, nothing else. I've tried it with just sunscreen, just moisturizer, just primer, just vitamin C. I've tried it with a combination of either of those things. I've tried switching up brands. It pills in some way every single time. I don't know what the deal is. So I'm going to keep going with my review, but just keep that in mind. So this has very, very sheer coverage, very similar to Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue. It is a skin tint that is just meant to even out your skin tone. So I accidentally set my concealed under eye area before grabbing this clip. This is before setting it, and you can see it gives a very sheer, dewy finish. Somehow this manages to look oily and dry at the same time. It kind of sits on top of my skin and looks kind of patchy. It's hard for me to capture on camera what I'm actually seeing in the mirror, but I'm really zooming in here to show you how some places just don't blend in. And sometimes I don't notice it until after I set my face with powder, which I have to do since it's so dewy, and it just slides everywhere if I don't. Now on this particular day, I did use a finishing powder after my makeup was fully complete to kind of camouflage and give an airbrush finish after I was done with my makeup to fix everything, because I just didn't think I could go anywhere if I didn't do that. Now on the various days that I wear this, I can feel it on my face because my face basically just kind of stays oily. And I think the clips just kind of speak for themselves. The first is at 2.5 hours and the next one is around 6 hours. And this is just how it always is. This is either not for my skin type, and for me, it's not worth the effort of trying to get it to blend out properly without pilling. Maybe it works much better for dry skin without texture. I don't know, but all I can say is that this is definitely the biggest fail of the sponge for me. And I was really excited to try this. I was sent 2 or 3 shades to try out in PR with the Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which kind of rediscovered through that, by the way. I was really sad about this not working. I have a lot of favorites from Bobbi Brown, but this just did not work for me. I feel like we had several winners for normal to dry skin, but not that many for oily combo skin. What are your thoughts? Have you tried any of these? Do you plan on trying them? Let me know some foundations you want me to test out for the next foundation roundup or upcoming foundation roundups. I've already got one in the works and a concealer roundup in the works right now. I hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. And be sure to check out my latest favorites and fails video. I'm not sure if some of you saw that, and there's some great things in there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.